Reporter Fred Wymore on the scene now. Fred?
The new leader of the Iron Horsemen now is Henchman Bear. He is here with the rest of the members of his club. How many people do you expect to attend the funeral tomorrow and the visitation today?
We have 200 or 300 Iron Horsemen at least, and some other clubs. I don't know how many. It's impossible to guess.
What, during the funeral, do you anticipate any problems?
No, we don't anticipate any problems at all. None.
And what about the Seven Sons? There's been talk of the Seven Sons. There's talk of retaliation there. Do you feel?
I understand that they have completely retired and decided to leave the area. And I don't think there is any such club as the Seven Sons anymore, and I'm sure they know it too.
What are your feelings now? And you are stepping into his shoes now that he is gone. With the club, are you planning anything at all?
Planning anything? What do you mean by planning?
In retaliation to the Seven Sons.
Retaliation? There are no Seven Sons. So how can we retaliate to someone who isn't there anymore?
Do you have, or tomorrow, how will the funeral procession go? Do you plan any special ceremony as you bury your leader?
After the religious services, we have our own service, and we'll conduct that. I understand we're going to a chapel and then to the gravesite. And at the gravesite, we'll have our own service. We'll cover the grave ourselves.
All right, thank you for talking to us.
Our brother died for us. So you're asking about retaliation. We're going to do whatever he would want us to do for him, because he gave his life for us, and that's the most any man could give for anybody. And we all loved him, and his sons are dead motherfuckers.
Live from the Radel Funeral Home, I'm Fred Wymore, Eyewitness 12 on the scene.
We're currently walking down the street. We're going to approach the location of where Robert Holston sadly lost his life. At the time of his death on October 8, 1977, 27-year-old Robert Holston was the president of the Iron Horsemen Motorcycle Club. He was also the national enforcer. The Iron Horsemen is a motorcycle club primarily based out of the southern Ohio, northern Kentucky areas. These are the areas that they generally run through, but they've also spread to different locations around the country. Not the largest motorcycle club, of course, but definitely not a small one either. Not really sure how many Iron Horsemen they are today, but their numbers run through the several hundreds. So let's talk quickly about the background of Robert Holston. Robert Holston was born on June 28, 1950, and grew up here in the northern Kentucky area. When he was 17 years of age, he decided during the Vietnam War that he was going to enlist in the Marine Corps. Now, they wouldn't have took him because people didn't know at the time Robert was blind in one eye. But he had memorized the eye chart when they were doing the physical exam, and they let him in. Now, he had many choices to do other things other than to join the Marine Corps because he had a genius IQ. He took an IQ test, and he was rated at 156. Could have gone to school, could have been a lawyer, could have been a doctor, could have done whatever he wanted to do, but he wanted to fight for his country. So he enlisted, and he did not only one tour of Vietnam, but he did two. And he refused leave home. He stayed there for a full entire year, twice over. The second time during his tour of Vietnam, he was wounded by an enemy grenade, and it took off half of his ear. Finally, it was around that time that he decided to come back home, even though I'm sure the Marines wanted him to stay. So he comes back here, and he finds himself kind of like where a lot of Vietnam vets find themselves when they come back home from war. The brotherhood that you build with other people in your ranks, that's gone because everybody goes back to their own separate homes. So Robert looking for that feeling of, brotherhood between men. He starts looking for it, and he finds it in the Iron Horsemen motorcycle club. Robert was affectionately called Moose. He was a big guy, about 6'4", and weighed about 285 pounds. But even though he was big in stature, he was also big in heart. He was known as a peacemaker between different motorcycle clubs in the area. As a matter of fact, there was a long-running feud between the Iron Horsemen and the Seven Sons Motorcycle Club that ran in the northern Kentucky area, which is right where we're currently at right now. So they had some skirmishes with the Seven Sons. I haven't read anything about whether if there was any shootings or any murders, but there were definitely fights. But a couple of years ago, prior to his death, he had called a truce with them. So for the last 2 years, from 1975 to 1977, there was a truce between the Iron Horsemen and the Seven Sons. So you got Saturday night, October 8th, Robert and two of his fellow Iron Horsemen, they're drinking at a local bar here in the area, and they run into some Seven Sons. So they start talking, and they're invited to the Seven Sons clubhouse. This is where it used to be at. No longer anymore. Now it's just an empty lot. Now, here's where the story gets a little dicey, because we all know that if you're a part of the 1% motorcycle club world, you're not going to talk about anything that happened. But from what I can gather online, Robert and the two Iron Horsemen, they come to this clubhouse and everything is fine. For some unknown reason, and I cannot find a reason, a fight broke out between Robert, the two Iron Horsemen, and every single Seven Sons. And it's hard to estimate how many were there, but I'm pretty sure they were outnumbered. So in the process, one Joseph Snow, who was a member of the Seven Sons, he pulls out a knife and he stabs Robert 5 times, ultimately killing him. Now, when the police are called, I mean, this place is an absolute madhouse. It's a crime scene. And Robert, taken to the hospital, was later pronounced dead. Now, Joseph Snow was taken down to the station and interviewed by police. He was later arrested and charged with first-degree manslaughter. So now you had 2 years where everything was cool between the Seven Sons and the Iron Horsemen, and now you got one stabbing to death the other. There's a lot of tension in the area. It was so monumentous that even the mayor, several mayors of the surrounding cities, and the city manager of Newport, Kentucky, they all got together and tried to figure out how to quell what they perceived as oncoming violence between these two motorcycle clubs. Now, I don't believe that any law enforcement investigators were able to really ascertain exactly what happened, why the fight took place, and I couldn't find anything online. As a matter of fact, after Joseph Snow was charged with the first-degree manslaughter, I couldn't really find if he pled guilty to it, if he did any time. The story just really disappears. And as you've seen in that news clip, Bear was saying that, well, there's no more Seven Sons, so what kind of problem can we have with somebody that doesn't exist? And from what I can gather, right here where I'm standing, at least here anyways, they no longer exist. Now, the Seven Sons, I did see a Facebook page that they have, so they still are around. I'm not exactly sure if they're still in the area or not, because this was a very big deal. You're going to kill the president of the Iron Horsemen Motorcycle Club, and you're not supposed to expect any type of retaliation whatsoever. You would be wrong, dead wrong. And this is the final resting place of Robert Holston. Affectionately known as Moose. And of course, it looks like somebody still visits his gravesite because they left a little toy motorcycle. He was only married for just about a year at the time of his death. I want to read something that his mother had said in the newspaper. Quote, "I was mother and father to him, and I love him so much. Please tell the truth about him and how he loved children and the underprivileged, and always wanted peace." Rest in peace, Moose. And if anybody knows what ended up happening afterwards, please let us know in the comments. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'll see you on the next video. Peace out.